Awesome. Awesome. Tekins, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Wow, awesome. So amazing to have you on our spotlight.
It's amazing to be here.
Okay, let's do this. Welcome to the book show, the one student, one book, one author mantra, the Global Readers Circle, the ultimate podcast that is designed to inspire and motivate a lifelong learner and a committed reader out of every global person, especially our student. Well, on our spotlight, we are so humbled to have a fine mind, Tekins, on our book show. Tekins, how are you doing?
Doing pretty well. Doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm blessed, full of gratitude. So now that you
That's
are
good.
here, how do you feel?
I feel pretty good, honestly. It's it's great to be on a podcast. If any, I'm working my way to throw my name out there as well as some of the the bigger names as far as authors are concerned. I'm humbled to be a part of this journey with you, and I'm few of your episodes, and definitely this is a great thing for me as well.
Wow, awesome. Well, this show is about you and how you are leading this significant life of yours. So I'm pretty sure we are going to be having fun. Well, we would love you to tell us about you. Who is Takins? Tell us about yourself.
Well, myself, as I'm 29, married. I have a 9-month-old son. Grew up in Chester, Pennsylvania, and great old US of A, as they say. With me and my three other siblings, older sister, two younger brothers, and just trying to make it in the world with my mother and our siblings. But things were tough growing up here and there, but we've all kind of made our way through with everything that would have happened to us as children. But I
Wow.
am blessed to say I have a beautiful wife and a strong, healthy son. So
Wow.
I can say I'm doing pretty well with myself and following my dream of writing.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. That's awesome. Well, on the spotlight, we would love to know about your reading lifestyle. Do you think you passed for an avid and elliptical reader? What would you say about your reading lifestyle?
Well, realistically, I've been reading since I was a child. Um, I've loved just picking up a book. My mom or my aunt would always tell me that I would just pick up a book and walk around and read aloud just because I was just reading. I needed something to do while reading, so I'd pick up a book, walk around, and uh, do that at the same time. And I went from the standard picture books or like kids book like Dr. Seuss, and kind of just going from there. And like I think I started chapter books at like second grade,
Wow.
and kind of just picked up from there.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Seems you have a good company. Wow. So it seems you were blessed to have a family that encourage reading. So I like to ask you, at what point do you think you made an intentional effort to make reading your greatest asset?
I'd say it was young because, like I said, I would just always like for something about the book fairs. I have a very vivid imagination, and it was just something about the books I was reading that put the ideas in my head.
Mm.
So realistically, for my first book, I would always go to book fairs at school, or just like always ask my mom when we were out if we could go to a bookstore so I could pick up another book because I never was bored reading. So I probably second, third grade around that time.
Wow. Wow. So over the years, you've evolved, and I'm pretty sure your reading lifestyle has transformed or changed. But for you as a person, what would you think or what would you say reading have done for you? What has been the significance of that reading lifestyle?
What reading has done for me, reading has always been an escape. With growing up, uh, and wasn't always the best neighborhood, and it was always an escape from reality, or even if you were playing as a kid, and if you were ever alone as a kid, you could always pick up a book and find friends within the universe. Always, you can insert yourself in any character that was there, whether
Hmm,
you were the main character, a side character, even a villain,
hmm.
just to change it up a little bit. All those things really allowed you to see the world in a different light through someone else's eyes, because you were trying to escape your own reality, no matter how good or bad it was.
So now that you do have a son, now that you have a son, how have you been able to imbibe or help him explore the life and the culture of reading? What have you done to help him see the need to become a lifelong learner, just like you did?
Realistically, we have, I don't even know how many books we have for him, and he's only 9 months old. But we have
Wow,
so many books
wow,
to
wow.
it's crazy. We have so many books that start from kinder or like infancy to toddler, and kind of just starting from there. Like, I want him to be able to see the world the way I did from the books. Even in some books, even his my mother-in-law had given him, because she works at a bookstore as well, where I kind of lucked out there.
Mm,
Um, uh, she helped gather some of the books that she loved as a kid, books that my wife and her brothers loved as a kid, books that I remember loving as a kid. She was able to assist us with that as well.
wow, you seem to be so blessed with families that find the need to keep reading and staying a lifelong learner as a lifestyle. That's super
For sure.
incredible. That's incredible. So let's talk about you. Let's talk about you. Uh, I imagine that you're doing so much in life right now. What would you say would have happened to Keynes if you were not an intentional reader and this lifelong learner? How do you imagine your life?
If I wasn't a lifelong learner in reading, that honestly, it's hard to imagine myself in that way, because I love to learn. I love to explore the world, the other worlds around me, whether it's real or fake. But I'd say that I would probably be like everyone else.
Mm,
I don't know. I guess just like
mhm,
following the
mhm,
trends, instead of being
mm,
different, instead of being
mm,
um, the outcasts, because usually the outcasts are the ones that change the world.
mm.
So if I wasn't a reader, if I wasn't a lifelong learner, I'd probably be one of them.
Wow. If you were not a lifelong learner, you would never be able to change the world. Wow, awesome. So that brings us to the point where we have to ask you, because it seems you're doing so much in this world of literacy. So I like to ask you, for our audience out there, do you see reading, the reading culture, as an asset to unite, transform humanity? Do you see reading
Yes,
as something that can help cop some of our ills? Do you see reading as something that can unite every manner of person, regardless of color, religion? What would you say about reading
I
as an asset to transform humanity?
reading helps you see things in a way you never thought you could see. There are so many ways that um, reading a book, because like some people will say that reading is a political, or comics are political, manga for anime is a political. No, they've always been political.
Mm,
And and for some people, the only way you can get a message across, instead of just saying it, making a video about it, is showing it in a different medium. um One of my favorite ways of showing that as a medium is the X-Men from Marvel Comics, where when they were created, most people don't realize is that the X-Men and the mutants in the Marvel universe, they're created as an allegory for marginalized groups. Professor X is supposed to be Martin Luther King Jr. and Magneto is supposed to be Malcolm X. They're those people they're supposed to be mirror reflections of those historic figures in history, and the people love them, but they don't even realize that's what their reflections of real life characters are.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Wow. On the occasion of the once learned one book, one author mantra, the Global Readers Circle, we've been onto an amazing mind, Tekins, on our spotlight. And Tekins is a lifelong learner. Well, Tekins, I like to ask you for our audience. Do you have any memory from an event that an idea or a perspective that you had read in a book had helped you change your mind or had helped you face a challenge or problem in reality? Do you remember any event where an idea you had read from a book had contributed so much in your decision making or whatever it was?
If I have to say one, it was a book that I read probably in fifth or sixth grade called Freak the Mighty. It's a story about two characters. One character is kind of he's really tall, he's kind of freakishly huge and strong, but he's not intelligent and inherently intelligent. But then there's another character when they called him Freak. And then there's another character who they call the Mighty. He's very small and he kind of has dwarfism and he's very sick. But he's very, very intelligent. And both of those two characters, even though they have so many differences, they become best friends. And Freak, he always carries the Mighty on his shoulders to try to help him out with his going to hospitals and they talked about how Freak is eventually he's going to go to the surgery to fix his body, but even no matter what, he's going to um and they're still going to be best friends even after that. But the sad thing about with that story is that unfortunately, the Mighty he passes away by the end of the book,
Mm.
but uh, Freak or the Mighty, he always remembered all the lessons and everything he taught him. And for me, that puts in the idea that even people can come and go in your life.
Mm.
That never forget the lessons that they taught you to embrace your gifts while you have them, and to continue to follow your dreams because you never know when, how, if something can drastically change in your
Wow.
world.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. Super incredible. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you very much. I think you are doing an awesome job so far this world of literacy and reading is concerned. So that leads us to talk about your writing. I would love to ask you for our audience globally, what kind of a writer are you and what problems are you trying to solve?
Um, I guess I'm more of a very self-reflective writer. A writer that sees that if I have a problem that another person may have had similarly in their life or currently going through, I can put it easily into the pages.
Hmm.
Um, Regardless if it's real life events or something that mirrors a real life event. In my first book, it was just a random story I had. It's called the Swamp Myron. And it's a novelette that I wrote um, after a dream I had, and where the idea is that uh, things can change in a snap, but no matter how prepared you are, or I have a story called The Last Day of. It's a novella that I wrote, and same concept, of similar situation that the life can change at the slap of and the in the span of a few minutes. Where it's my main character, his name is Lamont, and he is the last day of school, but at the same time, the zombie apocalypse starts. So he has to change his mindset on how he is to survive with people and the zombies constantly chasing him, learning, using the lessons that he was taught before the situation and things he learned while dealing with the zombie apocalypse. So there's a lot of, I guess, like I said, self-reflective things and ways of maneuvering life
Mm.
that if you can't do it, you don't have to do it alone. You can do it with other people.
Wow.
And for a lot of people feel isolated, especially nowadays, is that you can
Wow.
find your family,
Wow.
even if your family by blood isn't there for you.
Mm. Amazing. Amazing. That's incredible. Well, at this point, we love you to share with us. How do we find your book? Is it on Amazon? Are you a social media person? Will it be possible for
Yes.
you to engage with your audience?
Yes. All my books are on Amazon available for purchase, both ebook and paperback. Currently, I am working on um, getting my most recent book called Tremare Reborn for audiobook, and I think that'll be about out probably February, and then I'm working on a sequel to that called Tremare Ascends.
Wow.
So, so posting about both books at the same time at the moment.
Wow. The best of you is yet to be seen. Techniques. Awesome. Awesome. That's super incredible. Well, for an author of authority like you, we'd like to ask you, why will you want every person, why would you need everybody to become a committed reader and a lifelong learner? What would be the need?
The need is to never think that. I guess the easiest way to say it is that never think that you're done learning. There's no such thing as you're ever done learning.
Mm,
There's a reason why we have the term jack of all trades
mm,
and master of none. But the interesting thing is that most people forget the full quote. It's jack of all trades, master of none is better than a master of one.
mm.
So
Amazing.
if you so if you have, let's say you have a doctorate in hematology, you could then have a doctorate. You could probably have a master's in probably engineering, because if
Wow.
you're running the machines to do blood tests and it breaks down, you could probably fix it. No one realistically knows.
Mm.
So never stop learning, never stop reading. No matter what you're trying to read, no matter what you're trying to do, you can never stop learning. That's the way I see it.
Wow. And that's how it is in the ever changing world of today. Lifelong learners and intentional readers are the greatest doer. Well, Takins, thank you very much for sharing your insight. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Well, we get to the point on the show where you would have to name 10 books, 10 books that has worked wonders for you, 10 books that has kept you inspired regardless of all the intricacies of everyday life, 10 books that you are desiring to reread if you have the chance again, or 10 books you would probably recommend to an audience out there on the show. I'm sure you'll be willing to take this challenge.
Yeah. Yes, I can definitely do that.
Amazing, amazing. But before you do, we'd like you share with us what has been your inspiration. I mean, we know what it takes to be a writer. How do you keep your focus? How do you stay inspired? What keeps you going?
It's it's really interesting because it's like an internal drive for me that to keep on writing and creating the stories. Every time I have a story in my mind, I have to get it out. Um, for some people, they say that they can't write a book, and I try to encourage people to tell them that they can. But for me, writing, if I could do it without having a daytime job, I would. I just love the idea of creating a world to share for people to grow up reading the same way I did. That you can never have enough people to put out art in the world. Writing is a form of art. I don't writing, painting, street art, no matter what it is. here, if you have a gift, I think that you should share it with the world. Singing, dance,
Mm.
uh, creating, designing houses, all of those things are art. And if you have a skill in it, definitely do it. Masonry, ironwork, all of it.
Wow. Wow. This is one student, one book, one author mantra. The Global Readers Circle, the ultimate podcast that is designed to inspire and motivate a lifelong learner and a committed reader out of every global person. Well, on our spotlight, we've been humbled and so opportune to share this spotlight with Tekins. Well, Tekins will be taking the 10 book challenge, the 10 books that has worked wonders for him, the 10 books that he would probably want you to read, the 10 books that has kept him inspired. Well, I'm sure Tekins, you are ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, well, this is the rule. You need to call the name of the book and the author, and you're allowed to throw light on the books that really click for you. I'm sure you got this.
Okay.
Okay, let's see if you passed for a room full of books. Let's go.
All right. First book that I'd have to go through. I've read it every year since I was a kid. It's called House of the Scorpion by Nancy Farmer.
Hmm.
And Um, that book is just literally one of my favorites. And I lost it at one point. My mother-in-law got me that one a year or two back, and I was able to put it on my book back on my bookshelf. Happy, very, very happy.
Wow.
I learned from that book. Um, so many memorable ones, but I have to say it was at the very end when the main character realized that and I'm paraphrasing, but he realizes that he is able to for uh, take over for the previous person for El Patron. Is what he was called. He took over for El Patron and took over the empire, and he realized that no one could take that from him because he is El Patron now, and he was going to change how Mexico was.
Hmm.
I love that from him. His name is Matt.
Wow.
Um, one more is growing up. I love the Junie B. Jones books. My I don't know why, but my favorite line from her is every beginning of every book. She talks about her teacher, and she says, "My name is Junie B. Jones, and the B stands for Beatrice, but I just like B." And she has a teacher called Mrs. Mrs. has another name, but she just likes Mrs. I love that line.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome. Well, that would pass for number two. You got this. Keep going.
All right. The next book I would have to say is Silverfin. It's kind of a book, kind of like a young James Bond book. Read that as a kid too. Um, And for that one, it was a reference to when the character was swimming underwater trying to get to the um where was he trying to go? He was trying to get to a underwater base, and he had a friend that taught him how to uh, hold onto his lungs and breathe a little bit, and breathe deeper, and hold his lungs better because his friend played the tuba. And I remember how he was like his lungs were burning, and how hard he was trying, but he was thankful that his friend helped him for something he didn't know he was going to have to use later on. So that got to be three for me.
Wow. Amazing. You got this. Three. Keep going. Number four.
Before. Growing up as another kid book, I got to give it to Amelia Bedelia. Bedelia is another kid's book that I read as a kid. Um, and Amelia Bedelia is funny because she's very literal. She's a maid and she's very literal. If you say, let's hit the road, she grabbed a stick and she literally hit the road. Really, really funny for me. But that's like one of the many things that popped in my head.
Wow. Number four. Go on.
All right, number four. We will have to go to Um, oh, there was another book I read as I got older. Um, I've read, it was about the Egyptian gods and goddesses, and I was able to learn about Anubis, and I was able to learn about Wapawet, who a lot of people confuse the two of them, but they're very different. Wapawet is considered the opener of ways, and Anubis is considered the Um, the Lord of the Underworld, and Wapa Wet helps transport the souls to the underworld for Anubis to take care of and kind of keepsake of. So that would have to be five for me
Number
because I love
five.
the
Wow.
duality.
On the one student, one book, one author mantra, the Global Reader Circle, the ultimate podcast that is designed to inspire and motivate a lifelong learner and a committed reader out of every global person. Well, we've been on to amazing author Takins, and trust me, Takins is doing a lot on his 10 books challenge, and you can afford to miss this episode. So if you are going to be streaming this, be sure to share with your friends. And just like our tradition, we'll be leaving the King's website and his special links on our podcast notes so you can have an opportunity to read his books. Wow, Otto Kings, with just five to go, I'm sure you got this. Go on. Number six.
All right, number six. So then we would have to go to it's a book that I read by an actor. Her name is Alex Harper. And I think if I can't remember the title off the top of my head, but I think it's Helping Hand or something of that nature. But that book is a very motivational for people, for especially for black men just like myself. And he is a very well known actor. He was on CSI New York, and the quote from the book I'm gonna paraphrase on this one as well. It was talking about his growth and how he strived to become an actor and become a well-known author. So and that hit me because I thought, another black man I saw become an author. So I gotta give it to him too.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Well, that would pass for number six. I give it to you. Number seven, go on. Wow, we lost Otto Tekins. Wow, amazing, amazing. Well, let's see if we are going to have impact. This is the one student, one book, one author mantra, the Global Reader Circle, the ultimate podcast that is designed to inspire, motivate a committed reader and a lifelong learner out of every global person, especially our students. Well, we've been on to Author Tekins, and trust me,
That's great.
Author Tekins is back on our spotlight. Wow, Author Tekins, I thought we lost you, but this is super incredible. Well, I was just listening on your number seven. Number seven. I'm sure I lost you, but we got you back. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, you got this. Go on. Number seven.
Number seven. What was I just talking about? Oh, yeah, there was a young black girl. I think it was the one I was on, where she went up to the attic, and in her attic there were paintings of black inventors who in it kind of throughout history, whereas we learned about Madam C.J. Walker, who created the hot comb, or we learned about George Washington Carver, who created 1,001 different uses for peanuts, not technically peanut butter, where we learned about the Jamaican engineer who is the reason why we have stoplights for and that's the reason that they're red, yellow, and green is that that's the Jamaican colors. So without
Mm,
that, we would never have stoplights. So I gotta give it to
mm.
that one next.
Wow, amazing. Go on. Number eight. You got this.
All right, number eight, number eight, number eight. Hmm, um, I'm forgetting another book that I love. The Of Mice and Men. I read it as a summer read for school, but I do actually genuinely like the book. Um, of Mice and Men had two characters who were trying to make it out of life. They were just generally workers. One was big and kind of not as smart, kind of like Freak the Mighty, but they were also very different because they were adults instead of teenagers. And what really hit me is the end of the book because the main character had to actually kill the bigger kind of slower character because he accidentally killed another woman,
Hmm.
and he told him to look out into the sunset or the sunrise, and he held a gun to the back of his head, and he shot him. And that was impactful to me because he had to make the tough decision for someone he's been working beside for 2 years to kill him because he knew he was going to be sent to jail, and he didn't want that for him because he knew there was nothing he could do. Making that tough decision really resonated with me too.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. With just two books to go out of
All right.
13, I'm sure you are doing awesome. Go on. Go on. Number
Um,
9.
Number nine, I got to go with Rich Dad Poor Dad, where this guy he
Oh, Robert Kiyosaki.
yeah, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I love Rich Dad Poor Dad. Um, Rich Dad Poor Dad. He had his character. He had the biological father and another guy who's like a friend of his father. One of the rich dad is technically the one who's rich in life, whereas the poor dad is the one who actually makes the most money. And the duality of that for a young man to see that you have to learn where you're rich in life or you're only rich in monetarily. And just because you're rich monetarily doesn't necessarily mean you're happy. But just because you're poor doesn't necessarily mean you're unhappy. So it was really nice seeing um, how the main character understood the difference between the two.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Number 10 out of
Uh,
13, you are doing awesome. Go on. Number 10.
Number 10. Then I'm going to have to go with. I'm torn because then there's two books. There's the Shawshank Redemption, or there's To Kill a Mockingbird. So those two
Hmm.
I'm torn with, but I'm going to go with To Kill a Mockingbird
Wow.
realistically.
Wow.
Um, a Mockingbird is a very impactful story. Another story about about the duality of having segregation between the black and the white people in America, and how the story kind of shifts where the main characters are kids, but even though they're kids, they see the reality of the world around them that it's bad for the segregation of the black man that they're kind of interacting with, and how they see the world treat him, but they don't see him that way, and it kind of shows you that your influences, like your parents or even your neighborhood, doesn't necessarily affect who you are as a person and who you grow up to be.
Wow. Wow. Author Takins. Wow, that was awesome. That was incredible. You did so beautiful. Thank you very much for being honest on your journey as a lifelong learner. We are reaping the rewards with you. Thank you very much. We appreciate your efforts and everything you've done to come this far.
I appreciate you bringing me on that thing because I had to think for a second. I said 10 books. I was like, no, I got 10 books. I know 10 books.
Ah, incredible, incredible. Well, we get to the part of the show where I would love you for our audience. I'd like you to share with us for a person who is yet to read a book, for a person who has all the opportunity in this world to read a book but would not read a book. What would you say? What would you advise this person?
Well, I would. Well, as much as I love reading, I also love watching TV. I love watching anime as well. I read manga, and what I would say to the person who would is trying to get into reading is what type of books or what type of shows, movies do you like to watch?
Mm,
Look into like try to find that. If you find a show that you like that you absolutely love to watch, or a certain type of shows or movies you love to watch, there's 9 times out of 10 there's probably anywhere from 7 to 10, maybe 30 books with the same type of feeling, or it will give you the same feeling. So if you like books, if you like James Bond movies, there's spy books. There's so many spy books out there. If you like werewolves, there's so many werewolf books out there. If you like Harry Potter, if you like the movies, well, look at the source material from where the Harry Potters come. There are seven or eight books. Or if you've watched, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, that's another one. Whereas there are um, prequel books to that, and one of my favorite one was I forgot the name of it, but it was something about the tree that created the wardrobe to make it as magical as it was. That's another one. Try to
mm,
find what you like to watch and see if there's a book about it, because this probably is.
wow. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Well, Otto Tekins, you have been so incredible on the spotlight. We appreciate you for finding the time to learn your voice on our global community. This means so much for humanity. Thank you very
Uh,
much.
of course, of course.
Well, on occasion of one student, one book, one author mantra, the Global Readers Circle, the ultimate podcast that is designed to inspire, motivate a lifelong learner and a committed reader out of every global person. Well, we've been on to author takens, and author takens have been invaluable so far as global spotlight is concerned. Remember that you become the books you read and the people that you meet. So trust me, author takens is a credible person, and you need to meet author takens. Wow, auto takings, before you go, what would be your last word to this person who is downtrodden? What would be your last word to this person who is yet to carve a niche for themselves? What would be your last word to this person who feels confused and lost? I mean, with all the books in the world, with all the answers locked up in these books, what would be your final words?
Final word. Someone who's lost is going to find the right book for them. I guess I can go with the easy one. Don't judge the book by its cover. I know that's kind of the ironic thing. That's the cover that draws you in, but don't judge it just based off the cover. Look at the
Mm,
book. Read the first 2 pages. Read somewhere in the middle, and
mm,
even if you have the book in your hand, look up uh, the reviews for the book, because 9 times
mm.
out of 10, I've seen books where the negative review has drawn people to the actual book because they were like, well, all these people they say it's good, but the negative review says something completely opposite. You think about it. Use the brain that you were given to think.
Mm, amazing, amazing, amazing. Well, Otto Takins, thank you very much for honoring our Ivy, and thank you for sparing your time to become a bigger voice to humanity on this book show. We are so humbled. We are so humbled with this opportunity. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
This is the One Student, One Book, One Author mantra, the Global Readers Circle, the ultimate podcast that is designed to inspire and motivate a lifelong learner and a committed reader out of every global person. Well, we've been having an awesome moment with amazing author takings. So be sure that you tell your friends about author takings. Be sure that you share and Be honest with yourself. You become the books you read and the people that you meet. This platform gives you an opportunity to meet fine minds like Otto Kings. So be sure that you don't have to devour this alone. You have to share with your friends and family. Well, it's been your host, Smart Steward Udo on the spotlight. Otto Kings, thank you very much for making it happen. Thank you. We do appreciate you.
Thank you. It's been a great being here. Thank you for having me.